to focus on why I was getting into these things, you'd have to go to Ernie Gann. His writings about the radial engine airplanes that he was with during the airmail period and through World War II pretty well sums up the visceral feeling that radial guys have. They crank over slowly, clicking, clicking, clicking through the blades until you hit the mags. Then they'll belch and they'll fart and oil comes out the stacks and 1 or 2 cylinders will fire. And then they settle down to this low, heart-grabbing thump at idle, just ticking. And you're hooked.
I think a lot of it comes from the sound. There's just nothing like it. It's just a sweet sound. It's not a high piercing jet noise that gets to you after a while. It's a low throaty rumble that signifies power and performance and history. There's just nothing else that compares to it. You never get tired of it. And every engine, every different round engine sounds different, whether it's a Continental 220. Excuse me. I just wanted to make sure they can see. Speaking of the Continental 220, they just really have character to them, all of them. And to this day, I never get tired of listening to it.
And we often tell people that radial engines are kind of like Harley Davidsons of the air. It's a high torque engine. Pretty much all the radials are high torque, low RPM relative to modern engines. So they have a different sound. Just the radial configuration gives it a different sound. It's instantly recognizable. I can remember when I was young, in the middle of the night, you'd hear a Twin Beech go over, and you knew it was a Twin Beech because you could hear the twin Pratt & Whitneys, and you could just tell, even in the dark, that a radial engine was flying over. So it has a little bit of an aura about it. It's a little bit of a nostalgia thing. It's old-fashioned history, and it just appeals to people like me who are into that kind of thing, who like the history, who want to know what it was like in 1940 and 1930 and 1920, what things sounded like. It'll be a sad day when the last radial engine runs, I'll say that.
The allure of the radial engine is great because it's the sound of them that certainly brings people over to see what they look like. It's the smell of them when they start up and they're blowing out white smoke, and I think that's a big part of it as well. The nostalgia of it. They're very nostalgic because airplanes of the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, into the 50s, they were powered by these engines, and so for people like myself who like older airplanes, and older engines, it's all kind of one and the same. When an airplane passes by or flies by or taxis by, everybody in the crowd is going to stop and look.